Good evening and welcome to another maximum training video. Tonight we're going to look at our lactate thresholds and lactic acid. Now you might be aware that when we're exercising we've got two real energy systems. We're either working aerobically, which is with oxygen, or anaerobically without oxygen. As triathletes we're predominantly going to be exercising for a period of time, so we're going to be wanting to work aerobically, so using oxygen. Perhaps if we come back slightly and look at how and why our body produces lactic acid. So we put food into our body, which our body stores as glycogen. Through a process of something called glycolysis, we take that glycogen and we convert it into energy, usable energy. So a simple process of glycolysis. So we take glycogen into our bodies, it's stored in our muscles and in our livers. Through a healthy diet we have enzymes present in our body, and those enzymes, when present, break down the glycogen into glucose, and through rest of the process more enzymes convert the glucose into pyruvic acid. And now it depends on whether oxygen is present or not. So we produce 2 units of adenosine triphosphate, and that's the energy that our muscles use to contract, which allows us to move. When we're working aerobically, no lactic acid is produced, and we're producing 2 measures of ATP. However, when we're working too hard or harder and enough oxygen is not present, then we have a byproduct of lactic acid. So lactic acid is produced, and a build-up of lactic acid interferes with the muscular contraction. That's how lactic acid is produced. So why is it important? So we have here our time period, our heart rate in black, and our blood lactate levels in red. So as we start exercising, our heart rate starts increasing. At some point, if our heart rate keeps increasing, we start producing lactic acid. Okay, so we're working sufficiently hard that enough oxygen is not being used in our muscles, and the byproduct is lactic acid. At that stage, we can keep exercising. However, if our heart rate keeps increasing, we get to this point here, which is where an awful lot of lactic acid is produced, which really limits how far and how much we can train or race. Why it's important for us to test our lactic acid and to know what our thresholds are is these 2 points differ for each individual. For one individual, they might hit this point at a heart rate of 150 beats per minute. At that point, they might hit their total lactate threshold at 170 beats per minute. So there's a period, if they can exercise below 150, they're working aerobically, and they can maintain that provided they have sufficient energy to enable glycolysis to happen. However, for another individual, this process might happen at 145 beats a minute, and this might happen at 155 beats a minute, or less, or closer. So the difference between these two is down to individual differences. At maximum training, when we test your blood lactate, we test to see at what heart rate this point is occurring and at what point that is occurring. So that the reports that we can give you and the feedback we can give you on your performance enables you to know when you're working aerobically, at what heart rate you begin to work anaerobically. Which means when you're training or racing, that you know you want to, whatever this heart rate point here is here, you want to keep your heart rate below that point when you start racing or training. If you go above that, so perhaps you've got a hill to climb, running or cycling, and your blood lactate starts increasing, at what point does it occur here where there's such a build-up of lactic acid that you'll see a rapid demise in your performance? So the point of lactate testing and blood lactate testing is to understand where these 2 points occur on you, because where they are on you, where they are on I, where they are on somebody else, is different. Okay, if you're interested in our blood lactate testing, then have a look in the comments below, and have a look on our Facebook page, where we've got links to book sessions. Okay, thanks very much for listening. Any questions, please post them below. Please message me directly. Okay, and good luck in your training. I look forward to hearing some of your results. Thank you.